がここにいるうちの本物のスクールスポーツのために行こうぜベイビーバンこの国は気をつけて、現実になることがありますからね。
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue the long-standing tradition of covering Japanese boxing here on True School Sports. True School Sports, the #1 source for Japanese boxing in America from an American. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and watching this video. And ayete okata. Nice to see everybody here again. Showing that love, that support, and that passion that I know we all have for this glorious sport of boxing. Now listen, guys. Really big fight in Japan. And truth be told, you know, I'm not in Japan. I don't live in Japan. So sometimes until some of these fights actually get made, I don't really understand the magnitude and how big some of these fights are until I see the reaction and the buzz from the Japanese boxing community. And I gotta say, man, honestly, I knew this fight was big. I knew that, you know, a fight between Tenshin NASUKAWA and Takuma Inoue. I knew this fight was big, but man, it's got a different type of feeling to it. It has a different type of buzz, and it's great to see the Japanese fans so excited for the fight because it's a very intriguing fight. You know, you got Tenshin, war-renowned name, definitely a superstar in Japan, especially dating back to his days in kickboxing. You know, he's progressed very fast as a professional fighter. You know, and this I believe is his 9th pro fight. 8th or 9th pro fight, somewhere around there. And he's stepping up to the plate and he's taking on a former world champion for his first world title defense, for his first world title. And this is for the vacant title that Joseph Nakatani left behind because he vacated the WBC title and he's pursuing, you know, his mega fight with the monster, right? So let's talk about this fight because I'm on Twitter a lot and I'm seeing a lot of the Japanese boxing community really getting behind Takuma. They believe that Takuma Inoue is going to use his experience and his technical skills to outbox and outsmart Tenshin, right? And you know, Takuma's a good fighter. I think Takuma is a good fighter. I've given him his proverbial flowers over the years. But let's keep it 100%. Let's be honest about Takuma Inoue. Takuma Inoue is not his brother. He's not the monster. He's good, but he's not the monster. He doesn't punch as hard. He doesn't have elite punch power at the world class level. And if we're being honest, if we're being fully honest, guys, I'm not even sure that Takuma would have become a world champion if it wasn't for his brother, the monster Naoya Inoue, dropping the belt and him getting him a very favorable opponent for a vacant title against Liborio Solis. So I don't think he would have been champion without the monster, you know, looking out for him. Let's just be honest. Good fighter, but in my opinion, you know, I think a lot of the Japanese public going into this fight, from what I've seen, and I can only go off of what I've seen, is slightly overrating him a bit. I really, you know, and I could be wrong. You guys know, you know, I could be wrong. I'm not perfect, but I think Tenshin Nasukawa is going to win this fight and win it handily. I think he's a better fighter than Takuma. I think he's a more athletic fighter. I think his boxing skills progress very fast. I think his IQ is a lot higher than people want to give him credit for because they still don't look at Tenshin as the fighter, you know, as a fighter in boxing. They still look at him as a guy who was a kickboxer, right? Because he was so great in the kickboxing realm. So I understand it, but no, he's a world class athlete. He's learned this fight game very quick, and he's a fast learner. And I think he's a better athlete. Also factor in, he's got about a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage that I think he can exploit with his superior athleticism. And honestly, not only do I think he could beat Takuma Inoue, I think this is, I would go as far as to say is I think this is a nightmare matchup for him. I think Tenshin is gonna really announce himself to the world of Japanese boxing as one of the best fighters in Japanese boxing. He's gonna beat Takuma Inoue. Takuma Inoue. Let's break him down. Let's dissect him real quick as a fighter. What is Takuma as a fighter when you really dissect his style layer by layer? Well, first and foremost, Takuma, he's got that very disciplined, regimented Japanese base, you know, mid-range fighter, structured slugger like the Japanese style is. Throws a lot of straight punches, specializes in the 1-2, right? But again, accurate fighter, very good stamina, does not get tired. But again, he does not have the punching power at that world class level. He beats fighters with his accuracy. He beats fighters with his brain, right? And it's gotten him very far. He's got a high IQ, but when it comes to the overall totality of who these guys are in the squared circle, Tenshin is better than him. Tenshin is better than him, and I think if it wasn't for his association with his older brother, Naoya Inoue, people wouldn't even consider him winning because he's really not better than Tenshin. And I think Tenshin is going to beat the hell out of him when they fight. I think Tenshin is going to beat him and beat him soundly. I don't like that people are writing off Tenshin. I know he's a favorite. I looked at the odds. He's a favorite at the odds, but it feels like the consensus from the Japanese public, from what I've read on Twitter, is that Takuma could really use his experience to beat him. Now, to be honest, his experience and what he's learned in his career thus far as a professional fighter, a lifelong professional boxer, that is the only advantage he has over Tenshin. Because let's have it right, he's not a bigger puncher than Tenshin. His arms aren't longer than Tenshin, and he's not more athletic than Tenshin. So he's gonna have to fight a damn near perfect fight, I feel. And it's not even when he fights just Tenshin. I feel like when he fights most fighters at that top level who have any power or athleticism advantage over him, he has to fight a perfect fight. Because let us not forget the last time we saw Takuma Inoue in the ring, a lot of people had this attitude that he was gonna go in there and beat up Seiya Tsutsumi. And he did not beat up Seiya Tsutsumi. I told you guys that Seiya Tsutsumi was going to beat the daylights out of him, and he did, right? And he hasn't been in the ring since then. So we're talking about roughly a 12 or 13 month layoff. And I think he's in big trouble. I think Tenshin is going to really, really earn the respect of a lot of people in the boxing world, and he's going to be the next bantamweight world champion from Japan. And I think people are going to really have to respect him as a boxer, because there's still this notion that he's the guy that got knocked out by Floyd. He's a kickboxer. They can't look at Tenshin and not see him as the kickboxer. So is Takuma good enough to win the fight? Of course. Is he experienced enough to win the fight? Of course. But I like what Tenshin's bringing going into this fight. I feel like Tenshin has the right experience. He's fought guys like Maloney, ex-champion. He's fought Jonathan Rodriguez, who was, coming into the fight very confident when he fought him and beat him easily. He's fought some good fighters, good live competition, and really, like I said, the last time Takuma fought he fought the volume punching demon known as Seiya Tsutsumi. Now, Tenshin doesn't have that Tsutsumi style. Tsutsumi likes to shift, and he does a lot of things that a lot of Japanese fighters don't do. So it's a different style matchup. However, Takuma to me is outgunned in the reach department, the power department, and the athleticism department. So he's going to need to box a very, very, very technically proficient fight. But listen, people are excited about it. Tenshin has told everybody, look, if it's me versus the Inoue family, then that's what it's going to be. And I'm going to come out victorious, and I will be the champion in this fight. So I love his attitude. I love his approach to boxing. I know he's a damn good fighter because, like I said, you guys know, one of my best friends in this world is Angelo Leo. And I asked Angelo about 2 years ago. I said, Angelo, out of all these Japanese fighters you sparred, and he sparred quite a few, who is the best fighter you sparred? And to my surprise, Angelo didn't say Subaru Murata. He didn't say Tomohei Kameda, these guys that I expected him to say. He said Tenshin. And this was like, I asked him this when Tenshin was about 2-0. So this is a couple years ago. And ever since he told me that, Tenshin just been getting better and better. And I could see why he said Tenshin was the best Japanese fighter he sparred in his career so far. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the fight. I respect to both these men for stepping up to the plate and making a really good fight happen for Japanese boxing. But I think Tenshin is too good for Takuma. And Takuma's going to get found out again. But look, if I'm wrong, if Takuma actually uses his smarts and beats Tenshin, I would deem this to be the signature victory in his boxing career by far, honestly. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you favoring Tenshin or are you favoring Takuma? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.